So it's been about a week and a half and Doughael is causing a chaos inside of the arena. So as you guys already know, I've shared one comp with Doughael inside of the arena that has gotten me to Grandmasters inside of the Pure Vanilla server, and after that a lot of different teams have come out. I wanted to share 3 other comps that I have been using inside of the arena right now that has been working out pretty well, and 2 of them are going to be featuring 2 cookies that were not inside of the arena for a while and are actually performing really well. And the first one is going to be the Wildberry comp, and somebody asked me in my channel through the comments asking, hey, do you think Wildberry is going to be able to come back with Doughael focusing so much on that HP? And it seems like it is going to be. I know that Sleepy Whistles, I believe, shared a comp with Wildberry as well, and I've been doing some testing as well, so I want to share this comp with you guys. In addition to that, we do have the Wind Archer comp. I know this one was also shared by Chero. I believe Sleepy was also made a comp on this. This was actually a team that was shared by me through Mimis inside of the first live stream review of the update on the day of the update dropping. But after some more testing, this is going to be definitely a meta team that you guys can use right now inside of the arena. And then of course we still do have that Fire Spirit comp that you guys are able to use if you guys have Fire Spirit super high in promotion as well. So that is also a comp that you guys are able to use. So let me share these 3 comps with you guys first, and then kind of go over all this little things that you guys want to be looking out for. So first of all, it's going to be the Wildberry. Wildberry is going to be using full peanut, focusing on the damage resist as well as the cooldown. Higher cooldown, the better it is going to be. Close to that 29-30% is what is recommended so that you can get a faster rotation inside of the battle. Of course, you want to have the HP at the first or the second highest inside of the team because you want the Flamingo Tube to go to Wildberry as well as Wildberry. So we do have Wildberry here as well with damage resist as well as HP focus with the full damage resist bypass for that extra damage. And the recommended is at least level 10 inside of the magic candy for Wildberry because Wildberry is going to be giving that extra resistance for the crit. The higher it is, the better it is because, you know, you're going to be taking less damage as well. All right, and then next one is going to be our Eternal Sugar. Eternal Sugar for me is a little bit different than some of the higher ranking players. The reason why is because my Eternal Sugar is going to be 3-star promotion while Shadow Milk is at a 4-star promotion. All right, so that kind of messes up a little bit of the stat because our Eternal Sugar wants to be a little bit higher in the attack than Shadow Milk. So I went with 4 Swift Chocolate, including Tart, and 2 Raspberry in order to increase my attack. And that allows me to have a little bit of extra attack and some decent amount of cooldown with damage resist bypass in order to take Doughael's extra buff as well. Doughael is going to be going with the full-on peanut with damage resist and cooldown for Biscuit. Having around 15% cooldown is going to be a good place for the rotation. And then of course you do want to have HP as a max and at least 80% in order to get that full-on cooldown reduction. And then of course we do have Shadow Milk, same thing here with a full-on Swift Chocolate around 35%. I know a lot of the higher ranking players do recommend 35. If not, just get it close to that as much as possible. Of course, having the topping and the tarts are going to be very important, and the full-on damage is bypass for Shadow Milk. All right, so we do have the Flamingo Tube, but you guys are able to go up against most of the necklace comps with the Wildberry and Wildberry comp here. So let's go up against it and just see how it works out. All right, so the thing is, you're going to be able to see that the max HP is going to go on to our Wildberry as well as Wildberry, and the Eternal Sugar is going to be taking that shackle from the enemy Shadow Milk. Of course, Doughael is going to be able to provide that extra buff, the Blessing of Devotion. All right, and then of course is going to be able to buff up our Eternal Sugar so that Eternal Sugar does extra damage, is able to survive a little bit longer as well. And then while Wildberry and Wildberry are tanking and doing damage on the side. All right, so it does work out pretty darn well. So again, a bit of a comeback for Wildberry. It comes back here and there depending on what kind of cookies are used inside of the arena, but it does look like with Doughael, it's going to be a good place for Wildberry to be a quote-unquote meta cookie inside of the arena, especially with Wildberry's rally buff too, right? The rally buff allows steel-type cookies to have extra damages bypass. We also do have some steel-type cookie area damage, right? As well as whenever a steel-type cookie drops below 30% HP, it's going to heal that cookie as well as Wildberry for 10% of Wildberry's max HP. So it actually does work out really well, and you guys are able to see 15 million coming out from Wildberry, 15 million coming out from Wildberry, 14 coming out from our Eternal Sugar, and 20 million coming out from our Shadow Milk. So Shadow Milk still does a really good amount of damage, of course targeting that one cookie. And then we have 32 million coming out from Doughael for the healing, but surprisingly Wildberry is also healing 20 million, all right, because of that extra healing coming out from the rally buff as well. So a good comp here, guys, for you guys if you guys are wanting to use Wildberry. Of course, again, the promotion as well as Ascension and the Magic Candy is going to make a bit of a difference. Magic Candy a little bit less, just because of the fact that Wildberry's Magic Candy, even if you upgrade, is only going to be upgrading a little bit of that extra HP shield. Of course, the HP shield does help out in keeping Wildberry Cookie alive a little bit longer, but it's not going to make any super big difference in the damage outcome in that one punch compared to actually having a good topping set for the HP toppings. All right, so just keep that in mind. And in case you guys are wondering what the counter is, personally for me, I found that the counter to it is going to be a good Fire Spirit comp, which is going to be one I'm going to share with you guys. And it is going to allow you to just pretty much wipe out the entire team quickly before, you know, Wildberry is able to burst down your team. Additional to that, you also do have the extra revive and the, you know, buffs from our, Doughael coming from Fire Spirit. So it kind of bursts down the enemy cookies before they're really able to do much. So you guys are able to see like every cookie is going to die off super quickly because Fire Spirit just has that burst damage additional to Eternal Sugar and Shadow Milk. So if you guys look right over here, like Eternal Sugar just doing 33 million damage, and the Wildberry just wasn't able to really provide too much, as well as from Doughael, because they're getting bursted down super quickly. So I think the Fire Spirit comp still is going to be a good comp to use to counter something like this as well. I'll show you guys the topping of this build real quick too. It is going to be going with a full-on peanut here, and this time around I'm going with the damage resist and cooldown, so around that 15% cooldown. And then I do have Eternal Sugar here with a little bit more on the raspberry damage focus, but still having around that 15% cooldown. And again, it's going to be second highest because our Fire Spirit is going with the full raspberry, full attack, taking that Doughael buff first, and then the damage resist bypass with damage resist and cooldown, and the Shadow Milk and Doughael are going to have the same exact toppings. All right, and then we went with the scroll this time around because we just really want to do more damage up front so that you eliminate as many cookies as possible before that 1 minute mark, because that's when all the damage gets amplified, right? So you want to try and take advantage of the straightforward burst damage in the beginning so that you are not dealing with a 1 minute mark Eternal Sugar or 1 minute mark Fire Spirit or 1 minute mark in most cases like Wildberry's Mega Punch as well. So we have a comp like this in the defense log here, so I'm just going to go with the Fire Spirit and see how this one goes as well. So it's actually going to be a Stormbringer. So whenever I am in doubt of like, hey, what kind of comp could this be that does not have a monocle, technically I just go with a Fire Spirit comp because Fire Spirit just is able to burst down the enemies. Extra revive just is a bonus for us, and then even if you know, some of our cookies die, Fire Spirit is there to summon that Hydra as well for the extra damage. And you know, Wildberry and Shadow Milk are the last to usually to survive anyways to burst down any remaining cookies. So right there, even against that Stormbringer, it does look like the Stormbringer is I want to say is very close to that 30. You know, we were able to just burst them down super well. Even though our Eternal Sugar died quickly, it just didn't really matter. Fire Spirit and Shadow Milk as well as Wildberry were able to stay alive and do the extra damage that was needed. And if you guys are looking for a comp to counter this Fire Spirit, I like to just go with a full-on pure vanilla Doughael with the monocle, so that I just have that extra, you know, cleanse, extra buff, and the revive for our cookies as well. And then of course we have the rally buff coming out from our pure vanilla, and we do still have it so that our Eternal Sugar is taking that shackle, but have the Doughael buff as well. Alright, so it does allow Eternal Sugar to stay alive until that 1 minute mark, use the skill, die off, no problem. Eternal Sugar is going to come back, be able to use that skill one more time, or you know, at least be able to tank it, and then boom, you're able to pretty much finish off because you have that Wildberry to kind of tank the ability, as well as Shadow Milk to come back alive and pretty much finish the job here. Right, so that's pretty much how I like to counter it. So here is how it goes. You know, Eternal Sugar usually survives a little bit longer, but did die off in this particular case before able to use a skill. In my opinion, the Fire Spirit comp is just really strong overall as a attack comp for me personally. All right, and lastly is gonna be our Wind Archer cookie comp. All right, so a little bit has changed since we have shared it on the first day of the update, but here are the toppings for this particular comp. So I am going with a little bit of a mixture build here for our Hollyberry, just because of the fact that the HP is not going to be an insane thing here because we're not using the tube. We're going with some extra cooldown, and then we are going with Peanut for the extra HP, and my Biscuit is going to be 3 damage resist and 1 cooldown. Of course, you guys are able to make a difference depending on what you guys need, but around that 30% cooldown just like before, but this time around focusing a little bit more on that damage resist. Then the HP does help out in Hollyberry staying alive a little bit longer, because Wildberry is also not here to provide those extra, you know, tanking as well. And then Eternal Sugar for me again is going to be using that raspberry and Swift chocolate mix because of the fact that you do want Eternal Sugar to be higher than Shadow Milk but lower than Wind Archer. Alright, and again, that's mainly because of the fact that my promotion is a little bit different. Doughael is going to have the same build as well from before, Shadow Milk the same before, as well as Wind Archer is going to be using a mixture build of Amplify buff as well as Solid Almond, around that 8% cooldown. The more, the better it is, because you can spam the skill a little bit more. But I do have damage resist and an Amplify buff as of right now. Amplify buff actually allows Wind Archer to take more healing, as well as the buff's duration from Doughael to increase as well, and that's the reason why we have Amplify buff. And Wind Archer does have a skill, if you guys forgot, is that when he transforms, he will become immune to debuffs except for Curse, and will shoot his Pursuer's Arrow with his attack. So that's the reason why you want Wind Archer to be the highest attack, as well as you know, have a little bit lower HP as well, so that Doughael is able to protect Wind Archer while still being able to go and pretty much tank everything for our Wind Archer. We also do have the monocle to provide even more buffs and healing, so that's why this team is going to be really good. It's a little bit changed from the first day that we have used it. During that time, we were using Mimesis build, which was adding a little bit more attack speed. So for this particular comp, I usually go up against any of the lower powers, so below that 4 million, so around that 3.5 to around 3.8 to 9 is where I like to go, because that's usually around the time where people are using like pure vanilla as the healer, or double healer in most cases. So let's go up against it with this. Alright, so this one is going to be a Doughael as well as the Marshmallow Bunny. Alright, so this time around, they do have a little bit more amplified buff as well as buffs coming out from the Bunny. But for us, we have our Wind Archer to pretty much kind of stun the enemies, as well as tank the Shadow Milk's shackle as well, while allowing Eternal Sugar and Shadow Milk to still do a lot of damage. So right there at that, like, good 30-second mark, our Eternal Sugar actually bursted down a bunch of the enemy cookies, while our Shadow Milk still stayed alive at the very end to be able to, finish off the job. All right, so it is right there, 40 million coming out from our Eternal Sugar, 31 coming out from our Shadow Milk. Only 3 million from Wind Archer, but again, Wind Archer is really there to tank the damage as well as stun the enemies a couple of times and be able to, just stay alive and kind of be like that taunt cookie without actually using a taunt. And then of course, if you guys do see some pure vanilla Marshmallow Bunny comp here too, you guys can go up against it. All right, so here we go. This is still going around pretty well too, just because of the fact that people might just not have Doughael, just do not have Doughael builds, and things like that, and just kind of using the old comp. The old comp is still relatively usable, right? Especially for those people who are not lucky enough to pull Doughael yet. I believe it's around time where it is getting very close of being able to pull Doughael soon. As a free-to-play player, getting reached at 225 pulls, so it should be pretty close. All right, but there you guys go again. Eternal Sugar staying alive, and after Wind Archer does die, the buff does go to Eternal Sugar because she is the next highest attack cookie. Allows Doughael to provide that buff, as well as just have extra buff on Doughael as well. So that's the reason why this comp is really good right now too. And for those wondering what the counter to the Wind Archer comp is, it is going to be again, the Fire Spirit comp, it just seems like the Fire Spirit is one of the best attack overall, all-rounder. So if you guys are wondering what it is, I like to just go with Fire Spirit. It just bursts down every cookie because of the huge AoE damage, so that you don't need to deal with Wind Archer just staying alive for so long, tanking everything. So here we go. All right, so you guys are able to see Wind Archer takes that shackle, but Fire Spirit is going to be there to just kind of like burst down all of the cookies super quickly. And that's the good thing about Fire Spirit comps. It's not like you're aiming for one particular cookie. You're just trying to burst down every single cookie all at once, right? With Eternal Sugar as well as Fire Spirit. So even with that monocle, it's not enough to keep the damage out from all of the different cookies. You have Shadow Milk sniping one, you have Eternal Sugar and Fire Spirit just bursting everything down. So Doughael's heal is just not enough. Wind Archer can't even survive either. So that's kind of a counter that I like to use against Wind Archer comps if I do see them inside of the arena. So you guys can try and utilize these comps. So this is very similar to what I've already shared with you guys in my previous video. And then now these three are the other three comps that I have been using on the side if you guys would like to try them out. These two are more specific, and then Fire Spirit comp with the scroll is just kind of like my go-to if I don't know what I'm versing, really. It's just kind of a good overall all-arounder in my opinion. So that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Of course, topping setting and stuff like that can be different from different players depending on what you guys have as your promotions. But if you guys would like to try it, I recommend you guys to set it up and then either verse your own cookies or go to some of your friends that are in higher ranks, so that you guys know around your ranking if you guys will be able to actually utilize the team or not. But that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found the video helpful. Shout out to Sleepy Whistle as well as Churro, and I'm sure other YouTubers have shared it, but just know that these particular builds are for my account, and I'm sure you guys are able to see which ones are going to work out for you guys. And all different accounts again have different builds depending on your promotion and things like that. But thanks for watching, guys. If you guys haven't checked out my other videos, it'll be on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.